Okay, welcome everyone to the Breathe to Heal podcast. Today I am blessed to have such a beautiful guest with me, Indigo Phoniex, who is a renowned international psychic. She has a waiting list for months on end. I've had many readings with Indigo as well, so we're going to talk about that in the podcast. But she is a world-renowned psychic medium who has worked with intelligence services around the world. She uses her psychic abilities to assist in serious police cases, combined with remote viewing to help locate missing people and solving cold cases. She's renowned for her accuracy and world predictions. And when I say world predictions, she's been months ahead of everything. And I always love reading her predictions, seeing what she's up to. We are in for a real treat today, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, Indigo, my beautiful friend, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Finally get you on. I know we've been trying to do this for a while, haven't we? And yeah, it's an absolute honor for me to share this energy with you. And I know when you start talking and you start flowing and you start channeling, we never know what's going to come through. We never know what's going to come through, and the conversations we normally go into is always about like the consciousness, galactic energies. So I'd really like to delve into all of that about today as well. But for those that don't know you, obviously I've just given a little brief description. Tell people a bit about you and what you do and what you're offering as well.
Well, first of all, brother, I want to say thank you so much for having me on your show. Honestly, it's a real pleasure to finally be here. We've finally got there in the end.
Yeah.
But I guess all good things in divine timing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that was a great intro. I don't know if I can top that. Yeah. So the ones that don't know me, yes, I am a psychic medium. I have been reading for over 15 years. I'm not just a psychic medium. I do a lot of sort of energy work and shamanic healing, from extraction work, removal of what I guess I call hucha, heavy energy, dense energy, when people in crisis, whether that's through sort of drug addiction or whether this is through illnesses, depression, it really doesn't matter what it is. It's a form of crisis or where the person's at disease in the body. So I assist with helping to heal the body, and also giving communication, spirit communication, evidential-based readings. I do different things. It's really kind of hard to just define one thing, but I guess I'm well known for my world predictions. So prophecy of events that are happening. Now, obviously, I'm not just limited to world events. I'm a psychic. I do like mediumship. I do connecting with people's loved ones and spirit team, but predominantly I would say that I work more with the psychic side of things. I think a long time ago, I would say about sort of 5 to 6 years ago, I moved out of the platform side of things, the mediumship side of things. For me, my heart wasn't there anymore. Now, there's a time and a place, and obviously, giving messages from people's loved ones, that's so profound. It's such an honor to be able to do that, and of course it's important. But for me, my mission, my journey with where I'm moving forwards, or with where spirit was wanting to take me, I'm very much about helping people transform their lives and with giving key information to help them with this lifetime. I find that sort of with the mediumship side, it's not what people need anymore. Obviously, you give them the message. I've got your loved one here. You pass the message. You help them have the comfort, the connection, and also giving the evidential base that there is life after this. This isn't the end. But I found personally, people are needing solutions. They're needing help with how to transform their lives, how to heal, future information, how to navigate things, how to prevent unforeseen things happening. And so for me, I feel like the future is really about sort of psychic psychic information, giving people tools that can really change their life. That's kind of where my heart's at, in all honesty. And also kind of presenting information of topics that are unknown, so from galactic energies, from spirit. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment, and that's where my passion and my heart is.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and the work you do, even myself, as I opened up the podcast, was I've been to see you many times. Obviously I've known you for many years, but it was you that told me to get a copper pyramid. It was you that told me to work with certain energies. It was you that told me. So you've really guided me. So I'm very grateful for everything you do, because the pyramid has literally changed my healing and everything I do, because it's so powerful. I don't normally do the podcast in the pyramid, by the way, as well. So I just, for you today, I was like, okay, I'm going to get in the pyramid.
Yeah.
and honor you, my dear, and honor you.
It's so powerful. And obviously with my background of the Egyptian side, I just feel like, it'd be rude not to, not be in the pyramid.
Exactly. So let's start off. Let's talk about, obviously you've introduced yourself, what you do. What is going on with the galactic energies right now? Let's start there. Let's get into what is going on in, like, beyond the veil. Like, if people are really wondering what's going on, because the energies that are pouring into Earth right now are so intense. So many people are suffering with ascension symptoms, ringing in the ears, they get nausea. We're all being upgraded, but from your point of view, from what you see, obviously you maybe even explaining a little bit of how you see as well, and what you get, so people get a bit more of an understanding of the depth of it. Because I've been with you many times, and you go out into the astral, and you're like, it's different dimensions, realities, and you feel everything. So maybe explaining a little bit about that and what's going on in the galactic space that we're in right now, and the beautiful energies and the change and transition that is coming and happening.
God, you've really thrown me into the deep end there. There's like many questions between many questions on every level there. Where do I begin?
But it's all got, it all interlinks as well.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So firstly, yes. There is a lot of energy happening right now. This is a very, very special time in so many different ways. And I don't even think it is about just this year. Okay. I really feel like the turning point has really, and I've put this out in my post, really about 3 years ago. Okay. I feel for different reasons, but I do think that the Earth's consciousness is starting to elevate. We're rising. The consciousness is rising, and it can't be stopped. It just can't be. Firstly, it just can't, I think that a lot of people are struggling right now for just different formats. We've sort of come out of the whole pandemic side of things, which has been really intense with people's mental health. And I think a lot more people are starting to awaken. And when I say awakening, it's starting to realize who they are. It's about taking back their power, taking back their true divinity. It's about not playing small anymore. A lot of light workers, a lot of healers that I work with, and this is what we were talking about off air. I was saying that a lot of healers are coming to me now, and they're asking for help, and they're the type of readings I love to do, because I have such a scope to sort of to play with, to channel, because I feel like I've gone past the, will my boyfriend come back, should I stay in my job? It's far more beyond that, or the way I look or see, beyond the veil. I'm out of the new age, what I call matrix here, and I feel like there's serious world events going on, and I really feel like more people are awakening now and wanting to be of service. They're asking important key questions. How can I help humanity? Something's not right. Something's not right at the moment with what's happening. They're seeing beyond the veil, and they're saying, look, we need to save Mother Earth. We need to save planet Earth. They're seeing beyond the distractions and the veil, as I've said. And I think a lot of galactic energies are coming through now. Like, now we can talk about this. This used to be a very taboo subject.
Yes,
You know,
it did, yeah.
like 4 years ago, we're not even, do you know what I mean? Like 4 years, no longer than 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And even now to this day, okay, there's still stigma, but I think now, luckily, more credible people are actually talking out about this and actually going, you know what, guys, there is something more going on in the skies. You know, everyone has accepted spirit, you know, spirit just about angels, yes, but when it comes to this galactic beings, people still think, oh my god, you must be a nutcase, you must be a weirdo, you must be off your trolley, or oh my god, you know, she's lost it. You know, I've heard or seen people go, oh my god, you know, well, angels we could deal with, we could deal with spirit, we can deal with tarot cards, but oh my god, she's talking about galactic beings, she's completely lost the plot, she's lost it.
No, you haven't.
Maybe I have, but you know what, maybe I've lost the programming in the matrix, but
yeah,
I'm happy to have lost it, really, to be honest.
Yeah,
maybe exactly. I never had it to begin with, who knows. But yeah, I think it's luckily it's not such a taboo subject. I think more and more people are coming forwards, and more will come forwards this year. There's going to be so many more sightings, and we're going to see the media, you know, reporting about UFO activity. Before, it used to be like jokes and, you know, ET go home, and it used to be only in Hollywood films, but now we're actually seeing key official governments in power talking out about disclosure, NASA confirming about ET, well, galactic communication, actual photos that are not photoshopped being out in the press. It's almost like that dirty little secret, that little secret that has been hidden. The floodgates are opening, and it, like I said, it cannot be stopped. So now people are having to acknowledge that there are higher beings above us. And I've spoken out about this before. We are in spiritual warfare. We have been for decades. This isn't about this year. It isn't about centuries. We're going back centuries and centuries and centuries. I know I hear a lot of light workers talking about, look, we've won the war, this is the year. I have a different take on this. I wouldn't be so, what's the word, I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that we have won the war. I don't think we have yet. I think that this has to play out for a really long time. And as I said, I feel like we have been here many times before. Okay, this isn't our first incarnation. It certainly isn't our last. But I definitely do feel that we are at a key point on a global level and on a conscious level. And I definitely think we're tilting the balance, you know, like, as difficult as it is at times, everything is in perfect order. Everything is in perfect balance. You know, dark and light. We can't have one without the other. And with what I've started to realize and learn is the darkness actually helps the light. Without the darkness, who would awaken? Who would elevate? Like you and others, you know, we haven't just been born into this industry. Like for me, I've always been a psychic, you know, I'm a natural born, but we've had what I call previous lives where we were doing, like, we were in that matrix, and for whatever reasons we've broken out, whether this is through accident, sickness, grief and pain, sorrow or suffrage. I also feel that suffrage is playing a part, you know, as much as we look at events and we see such pain happening, it serves a role. It's having to happen for a reason, unfortunately. I do think that the galactic beings are trying to communicate. I call them galactic beings because I like that word better than UFOs. When I've communicated with them before,
it's got a really nice ring to it, hasn't it? Galactic.
Yeah,
being.
galactic.
I
energy.
love it. That's why I've done my room like this as well. It's like, I want the galactic beings here, you know.
And I think they prefer that name. When I've channeled or connected in with them, you know, I've freaked out when they first crossed my path. This is something I haven't always done, by the way. As I said, I started out as a psychic medium. I was a psychic. I could handle spirit, no problem. And I'm not afraid to admit that I was one of those people back in the day that would quite frankly take the piss out of UFO contactees, you know, and I feel so bad about it now because I am that one. But I think back in the day there was just so much misinformation, and you know, you always imagine that this kind of strange man, I don't know, living in his mum's basement, or I don't know, you know, it just wasn't good. And I think in a way, when I started to have the downloads and the communication, it completely blew my mind. In fact, it really sent me into a very, very dark place, because it completely blew my existence apart. I don't know if that was the same for you or when you started getting galactic channeling, but
yeah, I mean, for me, it's come on very, very quick. It's come on. Even yesterday, I was doing a breathwork session, like my own session, and all of a sudden I just had this being there, great big green, like third eye. They were just like just overlooking at me. I was just like, hello. Like,
here I am.
If that had happened 4 or 5 years ago, I probably would have freaked out. But it was like, it was just so prominent. These great big green third eye just there, just looking at me. Huge. And I was like, okay, hello.
Yeah. It was kind of, I wouldn't say it was the same for me. They kind of gradually sort of came into my consciousness through dream state, you know, and at first I thought it was just a weird dream, you know. It's like, yeah, you maybe need to have a break, you're overworking a little bit. And then with the key information, they showed me world events, and then when the world events actually happened, I noted down some of the predictions. And like I said, some of my world predictions they are psychic, but it's I'm getting help from the galactic beings. They are giving me some of the information and asking me or telling me to put it out there. And you know, sometimes people ask me, well, how do you do what you do, you know? And the truth of it is because they're telling me, they're giving me the information, and I'm just a vessel. But same with the healing, they're helping me to heal people. It really isn't me that's doing it. I am purely a vessel. And I'm putting out the information. So when I started to journal this information and then I put the stuff out, you know, I got absolutely annihilated. I got ridiculed. People were like, come on, you've really lost it now. You're crazy. All the jokes, you know. And then within like a week of putting it out there, this was some years ago, and one of the first ever major world predictions was at the Egyptian plane crash. I don't know if you remember that. It was some years ago.
I don't remember that. No.
So it was a plane, a boa something, carrying a lot of English tourists, and it crashed into the sea. It just crashed, and they didn't know what caused the crash. And they had shown me the information about this. They said to me it was going to be an Egyptian plane, it was going to have English people on, and they showed me it breaking in the middle, going into the sea, but telling me that the black box or the box would not be found.
I do remember this story now. I do remember.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the black
And they told me that it wouldn't be found. They told me that it was a terrorist attack, and it told me who had caused it, and it showed me exactly a bomb being in the back, it going off, but people being confused, and it not being, like, people not knowing, and that it would come out down the line, that they would find the black box, that they'd find out that it was a terrorist attack, and that it would be shown. And they showed me exactly where it was on the plane and exactly how it all happened. So I put that out on Facebook, like you do. I put it out there, and I wasn't 100% sure. I was just like, guys, I've just had a really weird dream state, and this is what I see. Like I said, I got absolutely ridiculed, and then about a week later, it happened exactly as I said. And then within 2 days, a part of that, they found the black box, and they went into absolute key detail of what I said about it being a tragic accident. And then within a week later after that, it was a terrorist attack. It was a bomb on plane on the back. And that's when people really went, what the hell? I would say that kind of launched me in the world prediction side. Before, I was known as a psychic, but I think after that, like, people really stood up and was like, how could she have known that? Because it wasn't a horoscope reading. It wasn't like, I just think there's going to be a random plane crash. I identified the exact plane. I identified where it would fall in the sea, and how.
Yeah, of course. And do you know what I like about what you do as well is that when you put your predictions out, when something happens, you go back and you put the proof up. You always come back with that proof. This is the date I sent it. This is what I said, and you're always backing it up.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well, because as a psychic medium, I think sometimes you can become so deep in that world, and that I see that sometimes people then think that every paranormal thing is like every event is paranormal, and not everything is paranormal. Okay, I come from a very sort of scientific mind as well, and I started this journey, or spirit sort of said to me very early on that it was important that I evidence, or I showed credibility, because again, when it comes to the galactic industry or the UFO industry and the psychic industry, and again, I'm not bad mouthing anyone, it's just the fact that I think that it's become very corrupt, it's become very murky, like any industry out there. And I think that especially with the psychic side, there's a lot of negative press, and as I said, we are quite behind on times. You know, if you go to America, they are massively into this kind of stuff. Aliens, for them, it's a norm, right? They totally embrace this stuff. And spirit, it's like £1 billion industry out there. But in the UK, we're very behind still. We've just about accepted that spirit and angels are real. Okay, let alone entities and demons and other transcendental dimensional beings and frequency. And when it comes to, like I said, UFOs, people are like, whoa, it's too much for my consciousness, you know. So spirit said to me very early on, it's really important to evidence and also to speak the truth, wanting me to keep the ancient pathways alive. And give incredible information rather than just horoscopes, or, you know, I've just got your mum here, or your nan and she likes cups of tea and rollers in her hair, you know.
Yeah, of course. And I think the work that you do is that is what you're here to do. That is your divine purpose of having that gift to be that extra special person that comes in and shows and shares that information, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important because I think that people need proof, they need evidence. And I think especially in this industry, I really feel like actually there needs to be more laws, or some sort of laws overshadowing or governing the industry, of where there is kind of like testing, or where more evidence needs to be shown, because it frustrates me. I've seen time and time again, like literally sort of Donna next door, like literally like, oh, I shouldn't say that because it's actually my neighbour's name, but I mean, let's just say Tracy next door, you know, buying a deck of oracle cards or tarot cards, and they're really interested in psychic readings, and then suddenly they're doing a few cards, and then they're like, the next day you see their profile, I'm a psychic medium, and they're a psychic. Now, I'm not against people developing their abilities or gifts, you know, I'm not about gatekeeping, but I think that there's a huge difference between a passion of liking to do cards or readings, or, you know, giving intuitive based guidance, and then classing yourself as a psychic medium. It's night and day. And I think that a lot of people have been sort of defrauded out of money, or they've been given wrong information of where, you know, I've had clients come to me and they're terrified. They've been told that they have a demon attachment, or they've been told something really scary, or that something bad's going to happen to them. And because that reader doesn't know how to professionally give a reading, or how to give them solutions on how to remove the energy, or how to help them, they're left in a terrifying state. So I'm having to then help them through that. And I think that, again, like I said, a proper reading can be life-changing, but in the wrong hands it can be absolutely detrimental to a person's well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I learned tarot as part of my training, but I'm not a psychic medium where I'm going to go out and do readings. It was just for me to learn. So, and it's like that honor thing as well. If you've got the gift, you've got the gift, right? That's not my gift as being a psychic medium, but that's yours. So anyone who comes to me for anything like that, I'm like, Indigo.
Well, I need to firstly say, I've seen some of your readings and you're really good. Like, you're natural intuitive. And as I said, you know, there's nothing wrong. I'm not about gatekeeping or blocking people from their passion, you know. But as I said, I think there is a big difference between someone marking themselves as an actual psychic, or I don't know, spiritual guru, and yet it's like, well, what evidence have you got? Like, what consistent evidence have you got? Like, what experience have you got? And I think this is another reason why spirit has made me go down this route. And I think this is another reason I'm doing more interviews now, because I was very much in the shadows. You know, I was word of mouth. I am word of mouth. I don't buy into a lot of the like websites and the branding. I'm old school. I'm really old school. And if I had my way, I'd be like living in a mud hut, you know, on the fringe of like society, you know, the old ways. But I think that the only way now to get the message out, Spirit's like, look, you've got to go more out there. You've got to do radio, you know, because they're trying to get the word out. They're wanting people to be more educated and understanding about what is happening with the worldwide events. And again, with the galactic beings, I think this is why they're also making a lot more communication with people around the world, because they know that major things are happening here on planet Earth, and they're trying to prepare people. They're trying to forewarn people. And like with all the crop circles, there's signs and symbols there. They're communicating with us. They're trying to help humans. They're trying to help us with our civilization. And I think this is why we're seeing so many more people getting downloads and the sightings, because they're saying, look, massive changes coming in. There's more portals opening up this year. I've seen lots, massive shifts, and they know they're preparing us, because, you know, I'm not all about doom and gloom, but I am about being honest and a balance, and not being like everything's going to be great and this is the golden year. In a lot of ways it is, because more people are waking up. They're taking back their power, and we're being able to create change. But I do think that the next months ahead is going to be difficult. I think June and July is going to be reasonably okay. I've said this with my yearly forecast. I've said that, you know, June, July, it feels like a rest. We've come out of the whole pandemic, you know, things aren't 100% there, but it's a bit of a rest. I think after July, things are going to start going really wonky, weird again. And I think we're going to start seeing major world events happening on many different levels.
Yeah, I feel that as you said, we're definitely not at the end of that side of things, the dark and the light war, because that's what, as you said at the beginning of this, that's what we're in. And it's quite funny. I actually had a dream last night. I was shown, I don't know what you think of this, but I was shown that there's a war for 500 trillion worth of gold. And then whether the gold is gold or whether the gold is a metaphor for something else, but there's a war. It showed me 500 trillion specifically, and who owns 500 trillion?
It's interesting that you say this. Yeah, I think it's both. I think it is a real prophecy that you're having and download, and I think it's also symbology. I think, again, I mean, look, remember the saying, the root of all evil is money? Or, you know, I think a lot of what is happening, okay, so if we take a step back, you know, through whether the pandemic, the VCs, all the other stuff, and I'm speaking in code, so, you know, your podcast doesn't get blocked or whatever. I'm having to be careful what I say. It's all really stemming from money, all right, from greed. And I've said this in predictions as well. It's not really about the cryptocurrency. It's really not about that. It's about the gold standard. It's about money. It's about gold. And this is something that's ruled civilization for eternity. You know, you go back through the royals, the bloodlines, and if you want to go deeper without going down the whole like David Icke linking with what he says is quite true, whether you believe or what's overthrowing us, because there's our government. People talk about the Illuminati, but I go one step further. It's really not the Illuminati. It's just an organization. Okay, it's a format of another group, a world group that's high up. You know, we have the Masons, the Illuminati, but then we have the government that people are thinking are pulling all the strings, and they really are not. No. It's actually the off-planet governments. We have off-planet governments overseeing our current governments, and then higher up, it's all pre-orchestrated. And this all is about gold. It's about money. It's about old age coinage. Okay, even with the whole Russia and Ukraine and with Syria, with all the world wars, it's always been about oil and money, gold. And I've said to people recently again about investment, and again, don't come for me because I'm not a financial advisor, but you know, people have asked me, because I deal with businessmen and other people, you know, gold. If you want to invest in something, gold, silver and gold.
Yeah,
because that is actually behind what is going on here. You know, like everyone is getting sucked into you know, the war agenda, the illness agenda. And I'm like, no, you're being distracted. It's far more complex than that.
Yeah, exactly. And everything is so cleverly put together.
Distractions.
I see distractions, yeah, exactly. I see things clearly as they are, like even just seeing things like all what's going on is going to create even more love. It's going to create more unity. It's going to create that awakening that we're talking about. People's consciousness and awareness is going to go, hold on a minute, this is what's going on. And as you said, people are waking up, and that's what we need. We need that collective consciousness to raise the vibration, to come into alignment, to come into unity. And everything that's happening, even though it's as bad as it is, there will be, you can't, as you said, you can't have that dark without the light. And the more the light warriors and the light beings are here, coming here on earth at this time, that we're all here at this time, have chosen to be here at this time, right?
Yeah.
To help with the planetary ascension, to help with people like you, your gifts. And it's so nice to see that so many people you didn't even think about would be waking up, and they've got all these gifts and they want to become healers and they want to help. And like, it's truly beautiful.
Yeah.
It's magical. It really is. I'm seeing some of my clients, I just would never even expect them to be on that path. And just over like a year's time, how much they've grown and what they're doing. They're now going on shamanic courses. They want to learn about the shamanic way. They want to learn and that indigenous old ways of doing things and that unity, the community coming together. Everyone's feeling like, so many people I speak to, like, I just really want to be on an off-grid community.
Yeah, and we're going to see that. We're going to see a rise in off-grid communities. I actually think, you know, it isn't about the new age. I always say I'm not new age, I'm old age. Okay, it's about us restoring and going back to pure balance, like the indigenous tribes have always known. It is about balance. It's about being in tune with Mother Earth instead of destroying her. And through the first sort of pandemic, you know, we saw this. We saw, you know, chemtrails not being in the sky. We saw rivers becoming unpolluted. We saw litter not being on the streets. We saw a sense of community where people are actually working together to help each other. And in a lot of ways, that kind of reminded us and showed us actually we can heal. We can change what's happening. We can heal our earth. And I think it's about getting back to a place of simplicity. I think a lot of the depression, a lot of the chaos in our lives, it's because we're actually kind of outdoing ourselves with all the gadgets and all the kind of new age stuff. We don't need that. We just need to go back to a more natural, healthier way of living. And I think more people are going, actually, it's not pharmaceuticals we need. How do we heal ourselves naturally? How do we juice? How do we look after our bodies? How do we look after planet Earth? Let's connect with communities. Let's go back to going to eco villages, because they're realizing that the new age is not working. It's not working. It has been a sickness in a lot of ways and creating a very parasitic energy, which is eating away at people.
Yeah, makes so much sense. And as you know, like with the shamanic training you've done, and that is the best way. Like there's a plant for a cure for everything.
Yeah.
You know,
everything comes from plant-based. Everything.
Yeah, and I feel the more that people really start understanding and listening to podcasts like this with your valuable information and other people's out there as well, we can accumulate, and we live in a world of the information. We can gain access to any information we need now. So there's no excuse for people to not develop their interest. If they're getting an interest in something, go and research it, go and look into it. And you never know what you might find. You never know what it might open up for you. And the more you do your work into your purpose and into your soul's mission, everything's just going to open up and bloom for people, isn't it?
Yeah, I always say to people, if you're on your right path, things will flow. There won't be resistance. You know, if you're in your flow, if you're in your divinity, if you're on your right path, then it will naturally happen for you, for sure. I think so many people are always so caught up in, again, self-limitation or believing that they have to live a certain way, and you know, continuously finding resistance or blockages. And I'm always saying, look, if you're being blocked or met with resistance, you need to take a step back and go, right, maybe this path isn't for me. Maybe I need to surrender and stop trying to be what I think everyone wants me to be, and actually go within and listen to spirit. Like, spirit is communicating with everybody continuously. There's nothing special about me, in all honesty. It's just that I have learned to be able to listen to the higher beings and surrender to that and follow the path and listen to the instructions. I think if more people took time out of what I call the noise, the rat race, the matrix, actually went within or spent time out in nature, really connecting with nature, they would start to really connect with other people. They'll connect with themselves, they'll find themselves again, and they will start hearing spirit or their intuition. We all have the ability, we just don't allow ourselves to actually hear it and trust ourselves to follow it as well, because we've been programmed to believe that, you know, anyone that's out of the norm, or anyone that says that they talk to spirit, or you know, doesn't want to go and watch football and get drunk anymore, or you know, wants to live a healthier lifestyle which is healing and about love and not fighting with each other, it is abnormal, right?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I think what you've touched on there is so relevant as well. It really is. It's that thing of listening and just be you. And then some people don't even know what their purpose is, and then you like, if anyone's listening to this, oh, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know there's something. Be you to the fullest.
Exactly. It's okay not to know, right? I didn't wake up one day and go, oh my God, I'm going to be a psychic medium. If anything, I wanted to be the absolute opposite. You know, and I'm learning, we're all growing. I didn't know that I was going to start to work in exorcisms and entity removals and channeling galactic beings, right? That certainly wasn't my mission at school. You know, when they ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? Oh, you know, I want to talk to aliens. You know, no. Do you know what I mean? That really wasn't on my goal. You know, maybe I don't know. There's so many things that I wanted to be, and this was not in my plan. I have to say, I am somebody without a plan. I don't have a plan, and you know, some days I don't even know where I'm going. I just have learned to trust that spirit will take me where I need to go, bring in the people that I need to connect with, good or bad, for my growth, for my soul level. And I think it really comes down to trust. Okay, trusting ourselves, trusting, having faith in a higher being outside of ourselves. And I think when you start to understand that things are to a level pre-orchestrated, everything is in balance, everything good or bad, it's flowing. Okay, duality, polarity, life becomes actually a lot easier when we start to take ourselves out of our own self and we go, actually there's something far more bigger at play here. And I think, as I said, it's literally, we don't need to know. So the people, for example, that are like, well, I don't know what gifts I'm not psychic, I'm not a healer. You 100% have an ability. You do. It might well be that, you know, you're a healer in a different way. Healers come in different formats. It's not just through hands-on or Reiki. It might be a nurse. It might be a doctor. It could be a counselor. It could be a vet, right? And even if you're not drawn to any of that, I guarantee if you take time out and ask yourself, what is it that motivates you? What is it that makes you happy? What is your passion? What is it that you want to do, right? And then some people go, well, you know, I don't really have a hobby, I don't have a passion. For me, that tells me that there's maybe some soul loss there. You know, maybe that, you know, their inner child needs some work, because everyone has a passion. I always say, look, go back to when you were a child. What is it that made your soul happy? Because again, we've been programmed to, life is serious, bills, marriage, children, we forget that playful side of
Oh
ourselves.
my
And
God,
that's
the inner child is
the
everything.
inner child, right?
Everything.
And that's something I absolutely love about you, JB, because
Yeah.
like I literally, like, you're like Peter Pan, and I mean that in the best way, in the sense that, like, your energy, you're just like, you're playful, you're happy, you bring
Yeah.
joy into people's lives, you bring magic, and you're just like nothing, you're not caught by limitation, and you're very much about helping people to believe in themselves. And it's almost like this wonder when I see you, you light my day up, because you always see the beauty in everything.
Yeah, for me, I don't know, do you know, for me, I just love having fun. I love seeing people smile and laugh. Like if I'm in a healing session and I'm doing clients, if we've not laughed at least 3 or 4 times in the first 20 minutes, half an hour, I know it's just like, it could be a boring healing session. And if I can get someone laughing, or I can get someone making, and it gets them relaxed, it gets them feeling comfortable. And it also brings out their inner child. So when they can bring out their inner child, the inner child will naturally light up. And all of a sudden their soul lights up, their mind lights up, their eyes light up. And it is just a complete combination of joyfulness. And that is just such a thing. Like I do my breathwork sessions, I end up laughing so much just because it's, have fun. Like, do healing in a fun way, and you make people relax, make people comfortable, and they enjoy it. So they want to, oh, I've had a good experience, I want to go and do that again, or I'm going to go and explore that even more. Like I've seen,
That's a gift in itself.
Yeah,
That's a gift. That's a gift, making people laugh, bringing joy. Because I think, again, even in the healing community, it's become so serious.
oh my
People think
God,
that healing has to be messy and
I
brutal
hate
and
it.
painful. And don't
I
get me wrong, it is
hate
messy, brutal and painful, but there's parts of it that can be joyful and happy and
it.
just like magical, right?
My guide specifically told me, like, when you keep doing healing, what are you doing? You're just living in the past. You're not going forward. They was like, you have to empower people. And when people feel empowered and they feel that joy, and they feel that love, and they feel that beautiful energy flowing through them, all of a sudden their vibration naturally comes up. And negative energy cannot live in a high vibrational body.
It's not a vibrational match. It
Yeah,
just
it's
can't.
just calm. So anything you've gone through is happened, acceptance, surrender into the process. Let's focus right here, right now, where we are in this very now moment. And let's empower ourselves. Let's elevate our soul. Let's elevate our vibration, elevate our consciousness into the cosmos, because it is so vast that we can't even comprehend what it is. Even just
Yeah, it's true.
just a tiny snippet of it.
We're
Through
literally like little blots in
it's
the great
nothing.
scheme of
Yeah, we
things.
are nothing.
Insects
Of
and
course. It's like
but
there's trillions and trillions and trillions of planets.
yeah,
And in galaxy, in a multiverse of galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies, it's infinite.
yeah.
So how can people say that there is not other beings out there?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, come on, wake up, people.
Yeah, it's like, why are you limiting yourself? Like, yeah, there's so many dimensions upon dimensions, and it really isn't a case about heaven and earth anymore, or good and evil, or even galactic beings. There's galactic beings, and then there's beings above them and under them, and yeah, and we're in so many different kind of what I call, like, I don't know, like holographic universe that we're in, and we're in different like timelines. It's like different versions of ourselves in different timelines playing out different things right now. And I'm probably not going to get into that because that's like a massive like head spin in itself, and that's probably a good subject for another time. But as you were saying, going back to with the healing and with what you've been told and channeled, I think in some cases sometimes that's what people truly need when they're going through crisis or they're healing. It's the absence of love, it's the absence of joy, it's the absence of feeling good enough or wanted. And I think that's what you're so good at. And also in your space, it's about whoever walks through your door, making them feel at home, letting them know that they feel loved. And just laughing, because so often when I have clients in front of me as well, like, I use humor. I'm known for my dark humor, but I do use humor to get them laughing,
Of
or I'm
course.
very just smashed with a fact. And I think that raises the frequency, giving them permission to go, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to break down and not be okay. It's okay for you to laugh or burp or fart in healings when we're pulling the energy, like shamanically, you
Yeah.
know, I see it all, right? Because
Mm.
I think in this day-to-day age, we're told that we have to be serious, we have to man up or be strong, and we can't show any of these signs, or we can't be a child. We, you know, oh, you're so immature, you're so stupid. Like, no, we need to bring more joy back.
There's a difference between being childlike and childish.
Yeah.
Be childlike. And there was actually a channeling from Master Sananda, who is Jesus. Obviously, that's his higher self. And he was like, become childlike. When you become childlike, you will light up your life.
It's the innocence. It's
Yeah.
bringing back that purity, the divinity, the innocence. I mean, if we think about when we were children, right? Who did not have an invisible friend? Who did not, you
Of
know?
course, what if you look back now, what are they? It was a spirit guides or guardian
Exactly.
angels. Yeah.
Exactly. And I always say, actually, to clients, or they're like, oh my God, my children are acting a bit kind of strange, or, you know, they're saying that they're seeing spirit, they're seeing faces or spirit. I'm saying because they're gifted.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, most children are gifted. They're psychic because
Up
they
to
haven't gone
7
through.
years of age, they can still see everything and they
Yeah,
remember
because
everything, you know?
they haven't gone through school or the programming. It's the programming that kind of takes our light, it dims our light, and we become kind of programmed. And I think later on in my life, with the clients that I'm working with, it's about deprogramming them, removing the programs that had been put on them, and taking them back to that state or that memory of when they were that innocent being. You know, how many children do you know at 5 or 6 beat themselves up, judge themselves, hate themselves, you know, are not running around like maniacs, laughing and joking and seeing the wonder of everything, right? But then we lose that as we get older. And I think it's about taking us back to that child, but connecting us back to our innocence and the divinity, as I keep saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all within us. And we've obviously, as you said, going through that programming, going through the conditioning of school, and everything is there and it's designed to dim our light and to slow us down. But so many people now, I know so many of my friends, their kids are going to off-grid community schools, like forest schools, and they're being taught their talents, like really nurturing what they're good at and letting them be who they want to be, and helping them enhance their gifts and their talents that they're here to do. You know, all these children, so many special souls coming from all around the cosmos to come and help with the vibration of the planet and Mother Earth. And like, you see these kids now, like, they're talking like way before we ever used to. They're swimming, they're walking, they're playing instruments. They're like, they are just so gifted. Like,
they're like a new breed. There's more and
absolutely.
more light workers. There's more I call them indigo children and star seeds being
Awesome.
born at
Yeah,
this time. They're coming in to assist the alignment and the frequency and the consciousness of this earth.
of course. Like, they're all sitting there now, like, especially with so many light workers now, having these children to bring that energy in, are all doing yoga, meditation, breath work, the shamanic healing, and all the other different modalities that everyone's got these gifts of. They're teaching the children, and if they're coming through, like, a couple of my friends, their children are like 2 and 3, and they're like yoga experts already.
They're like holding deep conversations.
Like, so gifted, and like the divine has sent these special beings here at this time to help elevate and keep. But that's why we have to. What we're doing now in our work is so important, because it adds into that collective energy to help them to stay pure, to bring the energy of divine unconditional love into this world.
we're paving the way. As I said, I don't think we're necessarily winning it in this lifetime, but I think we're definitely paving the way, and the new souls that are coming back to this earth and being born, as you said, it is definitely changing and shifting the consciousness and elevating it, right, raising it, you know.
Ascended masters coming in, back in.
Oh, they're here. They've been here for a while.
Yeah.
It's just that people haven't realized, and I think now they're making themselves known, and more people, you know, are having sightings of Kali, you know, downloads of Mother Kali. Kali's been communicating with a lot of people recently, and I always say, for me, when I see Kali, it's normally before world events. She is a protector, she's a mother of the land, but she's coming in to aid the warriors to rise up, to take their power back, and preparing them. There is a light army, and I'm not saying that lightly. There really is a light worker army that is lighting up around the world.
Did you just see my light? My light.
Yeah.
I've got Carly comes with me quite a lot. She's one of my
There's a sign right there.
She's one of my protectors, and the lights just started flashing. Thank you, Carly. So we're talking about this beautiful energy, everything's coming in. I always remember you talking to me about how you access the Akashic records for what you do as well. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that, because I think that might tie in with this sort of the new energies that's coming in and stuff like that. So would you give a little insight to people about accessing the Akashic records, what it is if people don't know what it is? I feel it could be just quite a nice thing to add into these energies that are going on in the world right now.
So, okay, I'm actually going to flip this back a little bit. I'll be interested to see, first of all, how you view the Akashic to be. I'm intrigued because I know there's so many different takes. Now, I've looked into this, and obviously I have my process and my working. But I'd be curious to see, first of all, what your take is on it, and then I'll tell you obviously mine, and then how I do it and my downloads.
Yeah, of course. So for me, it's obviously a library of everything that's ever been created or will be created, and everything is in the Akashic records, or as some people call it, the quantum field. Yeah. So it's either the quantum field, your Akashic records. It's got a few different names, and for me, it's when I'm meditating or when I want to do my breath work, and once I go into my meditation, then it's like going up above into higher dimensions, where anything that I want to access, anything I want to know, or anything I want to bring into my life, I can get it from there. And that for me it's like a place, for me, it's like a place of, when I meditate and I'm in there, every now and again I get really strong vision, but most of the time it's darkness. It's just infinite. Like it's so vast. I don't know. It's a bit hard to explain what I see, but for me, it's that dark. It's just pure darkness. It's like another layer above what we are in our planetary thing. But it's like the laws, everything, the laws of the universe, and it's everything. But everything is stored there. So anything I want to access, if I can match my vibration to what I want to access, and I'm in that vibrational mode of, okay, I want to access more knowledge on my healing, I'm going to tune into that, and I'm going to connect into that, and then I can draw that information into me.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. So yeah, I mean, what I want to say is as well, like, you know, when you go to like places sometimes and you get like a weird vibe, you know, like you can go to a haunted location and you don't know it's haunted, and you're like, oh my God, I feel like this is haunted. And you're just like, oh my God. And then you find out it is haunted. Or you go to, say, like a place, and then you feel really uneasy, and then you find out there's been a sort of an accident or a murder there or something. So that ties in kind of with how I see the Akashic records, because everything has an energy. So again, when people say, well, how do you do what you do? I'm just tapping into residual energy. Everything is residual energy, as you said. You know, some people describe Akashic being almost like a library. They're going to meditation, they're kind of like access, like go through a doorway and they'll see like a library full of books, and they're going with an intent of maybe they're wanting to get knowledge on something or future events. I need to know about something that's going to happen, and then they'll find the book, they'll pick a book, or they'll see a book falling off the library, they'll pick it up, they'll read it, and it will give them the answer. So they're tapping into the conscious collectiveness, they're tapping in to what has already happened. And again, when I speak about like pre-orchestrated, or when people don't understand what I'm saying, well, everything really is kind of pre-orchestrated in some degree. It's already happened on different timelines, simultaneously. As I said, there's different alternate realities of where we're playing out different things. It's already happened. We've already won the war, right? The light war. That there's a place where the darkness is won and the light hasn't, and there's another place where the light has won and the darkness hasn't. Everything is in balance and order. So the Akashic is really just a hub or an energetic place that people can go to, whether you call it astral projection, meditation, of where you're accessing the conscious collectiveness of timelines of events, whether this is past, present, or future. So I can go back in time and pick up energetically or residually something that happened centuries ago. Or I can go to a place where a murder or paranormal activity, and I'm like, oh, I'm sensing that energy, because there's an imprint. There's always an imprint that's left. And again, that's accessing the Akashic. There's different ways. People have different like modalities or different formats, but essentially what you've explained there is really the Akashic realm. The Akashic.
Yeah. So my main thing with when I'm doing that sort of work is I'm a feeler. I get a lot. I get a
clairaudience, clairsentience.
I feel everything. Like if a lot of my clients that come to me, all of a sudden I'll get a pain in my body, and I'm like, "Oh, you've got a pain there." Like, yeah, how do you know that? So I can feel it.
That's interesting you said that, because in my past reading that I just had before I came online, we were talking about the same thing, and she was saying, and she's a phenomenal healer as well, and she was saying she used to think that everyone had this ability until she started speaking to others, and she's like, oh, is that not normal? She will pick up on people's feelings or pain in their body, and I'm the same. Like, I can scan them like an x-ray, and I don't know if that's what you have or will start to develop there. But again, you're picking up again the residual energy, energetic vibration. You're feeling it, and you're taking it in on your body, or you're scanning, because you've become so fine tuned to energy. Everything is just energy. Yeah.
So for me, I can also, it's quite weird when I'm like in ceremony, I've got people over for sessions, I can sort of see, like, I can see the energy flowing through them, and I know where to work. And most of the time they go to me, how did you do that? I was like, I'm just guided. I'm just the vessel, and I'm being shown.
You're channeling. You're just going where spirit is using your vessel, using your hands, your body, your legs, your whatever.
So obviously, I can do that. You can do that. Other people we know can do that. If someone's listening to this now and they go, I would love to be able to do that, what would you suggest to them? How to start nurturing that gift, that talent? What would you suggest for them to start working on? That might be a good little tip for someone to go into.
Again, first of all, and this might get mixed reviews, I disagree. Like, I believe that everyone has kind of superpowers. Let's call it superpowers. Everyone has a talent and ability. But I don't believe that everyone can be a psychic, a healer, a medium. Like, for example, the difference between a international footballer, who has won many awards, and somebody that likes to kick a ball and play football. It doesn't matter how much you wish or you want to be or hold in a tent, or how much you train to a degree. There's a reason why there's not many, world phenomenal footballers and, people that just kick a ball about. So I think it's really important, as I say this, like, I've always kind of stayed away from teaching or development, okay, because I just haven't wanted to for various reasons. But this year I'm definitely going to be moving into doing teaching or psychic development and aiding other gifted light workers to help step into their ability, because I think I've found it very uncomfortable, as I said at the start, of seeing sort of people marketing themselves and they really aren't, and then they're causing a lot of damage. But even more soul destroying, I've sat back and I've been to many different psychic groups and asked to help out in development circles. And what I've noticed is that there are many sort of people there training to be mediums or being thrown onto platform when they're not ready for it. And I've seen it completely eroding and knocking their confidence, where they're like looking at somebody else who stands up there and can read and can pick up spirit and or can naturally heal, and then they're like, what's wrong with me? And that can create trauma and issues in itself, because then that will knock their confidence and they can't understand why they're unable to do it. They think there's a problem with them. And I actually kind of now come out and I step up and I say, listen, if it's not in your soul urge, if it's not in your divinity, your mission here on earth, then why waste your time? I've seen so many people wasting years and thousands of pounds trying to develop to be a medium. They're not actually a medium. They may be a phenomenal psychic or Reiki master, but because they've been so hell-bent on wanting to be this thing, or looking at somebody else and going, I want to be like him, they've lost years, or they never reach their full potential. So I always will say, when I see a client or have a consultation, I'll find out what it is that they want. You know, what is it that, do you feel drawn to this or that? Then I will scan and look in and see, look, do they have this natural ability? If they don't, I will then look to see what is their natural ability, because we all have a natural ability, right? And then I will channel and tell them, okay, this is your natural ability. Now you can still maybe try and develop the psychic and you can do the mediumship, but why don't you also develop your natural ability? And then often that's the light bulb moment. Something clicks into the place and they're like, oh my God, like it's flowing. As I said, you know, blocks are being removed and they really become passionate and happy and it's flowing. So long story short, you need to figure out and find out. There's a big difference between what you want and what your actual natural ability is.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think once you accept that, if you focus on that, and I think really the backbone of everything, the best thing I can say for anyone starting out, even if they don't know what it is that they want, meditation and breath work. These are two massive, powerful things in itself. Meditation, one, to help, you know, with grounding, building a solid foundation, helping you to connect within yourself, helping you to cut out the noise, what I call, and then hearing and distinguishing your higher self, hearing your higher self or your guides. If you're a natural psychic or a natural medium, that's going to start coming through. Or you put out the intent, listen, I want to be a healer, I want to be psychic, or I want to have messages to help or aid humanity. Put out your intention first of all. Ask spirit, angels, your guides, whatever you connect with, help me to realize my mission, help me to discover my talents. Keep meditating, because that is like a muscle. It's like in the gym, you can't expect to go and lift heavy weights, right? You just can't. You've got to start small and then you grow strong and your body gets built up. So it's the same with the brain. There's a lot of stuff we're not tapping into. We're only using, and don't quote me, I think it's like less than sort of 50% of our brain power. There's the untapped side, the ESP side, which I call the healer, the psychic, all of that kind of stuff. So the more you meditate, that will help to trigger that other part, the creative side in your brain. And then, as you know, with breath work is so powerful. A lot of us are not breathing properly. We're not breathing, we're not connecting in with our life force. I think once we learn to do that, we start to unlock blockages, we start to release trauma. A lot of people are so weighed down with trauma and programming, they're unable to hear or elevate. And I think also diet is very, very key. I think you can do a lot of like techniques, but if your diet is crap, if you're eating processed foods, drinking fluoride water, if you're kind of still dabbling in like drugs or negative behavior or addictions, that's going to lower your frequency. The more you raise your vibrational state, the more you start living a path of, I don't know, like a more peaceful pathway, a natural pathway, things will start to develop, and I think things will come to the surface. So long story short, meditation, plant-based foods are really good, from juicing to maybe having veggie food, you know, like twice a week if you don't want to cut the meat out completely. Plant-based medicines as well, you know. I don't know if I can say this on your podcast, but mushroom, psilocybin, That is one sure way to crack that open and to get messages and step into your healing bar. Or if you want to see galactic beings, that's one way to start. I mean, I'm not afraid to say I've done a lot of psilocybin, mushroom therapy, ayahuasca. All of this stuff helps to calcify and clean up the vessel, our vessel. And it's intention. I think if you have that intention and you're really focused and you dedicate yourself to the learning the craft, then things are going to flow. So even if, let's say, you do the breath work and you do the meditation group and you do the mediumship and the mediumship's not working, doorways will open up, and people will come into your pathway where you will get onto the pathway of finding out what your role is. But also just being in tune and being of service and in a love frequency. The biggest thing we can do to help people, it's not about being psychic or this amazing energy healer or this shaman. It's showing kindness and love. And if somebody is in need or a stranger, it's about being there for them. How can I help you?
Of course, and that is everything. Be of service, be in a state of love, be in a state of joy and giving. And everything will just unfold for you naturally as it's supposed to be. So, and I hope that helps all of you listeners, and I hope you've all got some value from today. So, Indigo, if people want to connect with you and make an appointment, I know you've got a big waiting list, but if people do want to get in touch with you and connect with you and somehow, how will they do that?
Yeah, so saying it's going to be quite an exciting year for me this year, because due to like the level of people wanting to work with me, and as I said, my waiting list is quite long, especially when it comes to readings. I've decided that it is now the time this year to teach and to hold workshops. So people can find me on Facebook, Indigo Phoniex. You can't miss me, my multicolored hair.
I'll put a link to your page in the description as well, so people can easily find it.
Yeah, so people can find me there. I'm having a website done. As I said, I'm very archaic. I don't like social media so much, but I'm being dragged into the 21st century, and because there's a lot of plans this year, there is going to be a website which I'll release at a later date. But the best way is simple: just send me a message on Facebook and I'll get back to you. And as I said, later this year, I'm going to be holding workshops and I'm going to be doing teaching online for the international students, and also for people one-on-one who want to have some development or want to know how to sort of activate their superpowers or be of service.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Indigo, for your beautiful, beautiful energy. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Can't wait to have you back on again, because I know we can talk about so much more. It's been a real honor, and everyone, thank you. This is the Breathe to Heal podcast with beautiful Indigo Phoenix. With lots of love and respect, everyone. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.